This is day 121 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Very much so. Today we are doing Siman Pei Gimel Sif Ches through Siman Pei Vav. Wow. Sif Aleph. Getting pretty far today. Okay, we're still involved in the outhouses here. And we're talking about whether the walls, the Arukh HaShulchan's Chiddush was that yesterday with the wall, with the door, sets off the outhouse, and you can read in its vicinity. And here it says in Ches, it says where the walls, it's not set off. And let's see, even we say they're on four sides. It could be that they were short, like good asik walls, right? 10 tefachim a little bit higher than the seat. I have only seen it once in my life when I was, for a week, when I was a young lad in Eretz Yisrael in a Bnei Akiva camp. And actually for the girls, they were more tznius. For the boys, the latrines, for want of a better word, the chitzas only came up to exactly just over the edge of the seat, which is very much distressing. Okay, but that's a little bit higher than the where the seat is. And this is the primary way of understanding it. An outhouse certainly has walls. It has the walls of the place where you're sitting. In other words, the toilet wall, the toilet walls, the toilet has things which surround it on once you sit. Those are definitely they're definitely like the excrement itself. But then there are walls around the toilet seat. They are like the walls of a house in terms of being opposite that place. And the halacha that when you say that this house is designated, and again it can be the short walls for a latrine, I like that word. Have a guy can applies to within the walls, not just to the toilet seat itself. I want to ask further. Everybody agrees that even though people dispute that whether outside the walls is considered to be a sufficient, or whether you have to distance yourself from the walls. The is certainly a wall around the wall of the stall it works, right? And these walls are also considered to be walls before you get to the bath, to the latrine. The primary walls of the latrine are the walls around the place where you sit. Are the walls which are usher are the walls of the toilet. In other words, the sides of the toilet. And then the walls around them may also be usher, but the wall, in other words, the stall, but the wall around the stall, there's sure much to read in that vicinity. Okay? He said that I got called away from the recording, so I have to go backtrack a little bit here. It says, it seems to me that it should be close to smoke we line the base Yosef at poskim just Kimmel Dvarav the again, remember we're talking about his case where you have a door on the Pesach, has walls on all sides, and a door since those walls, the ikar walls which are the problem, are the actual base of the toilet. The walls around it are, according to some poskim, if they're a problem, but perhaps it's only if they're low walls. So certainly if they're high walls and they have a door on one side, on the side where the opening is, says Arukh HaShulchan, you can line the base Yosef, who says you can read right up to the wall of the bathroom, even if there is, as long as there is no bad smell. Okay, it says brackets here. Ayin Sham Hativ. So this removes all the evidence of the Taz. Okay, whatever he said. Okay, and the Shabur writes, many Achronim argue, he says, so you can't read opposite walls of a latrine. And you have to also, so obviously, Mishabur was not as neither is the Arukh HaShulchan. It says, in any event, if there is a window from open through the walls of the latrine, you have to be careful not to read opposite that window. I assume it's only if there's a bad smell, because otherwise the window is butted to the wall. And it says, you can be maker. And he also says, not like the Arukh HaShulchan, that if you close your eyes, then everybody agrees that works. So I believe Arukh HaShulchan said closing eyes is not an eitzah. Okay, but the Arukh HaShulchan is maker on another basis. Test. Based on Kisishu B'Chafira, you have a dugout for the latrine. And there's an exit for the excrement, which is more than 4 amos away from the hole where the excrement drops down. It's drone, and it's made on a angle. The way that the excrement immediately falls to a distance. And also the urine goes immediately down in the hole. It is closed off. I believe, if I recall correctly, this is the definition of the Persian base akisei, which we spoke about a couple of yesterday, the day before. And mutar close bo. You read in the bathroom, made bo rechra, if there's a bad smell. As long as they don't urinate outside the hole. Sometimes they urinate outside the wall. Also, the Harabam B'Divator can't even think towards the Torah there. Koshkin goes Kriya Shema, and it goes out saying to read Shema, Akan L'Shoina. That's the quote from the base says, opposite that place, you're not exactly in the place of the urine. Mutar Kedim Meraglayim, it's like any other place where you are not directly opposite, not directly in the presence of the urine. He brings down in the brackets here, he says we're not necessarily even talking about a place where there are walls. Obviously, if there are walls, then with like 1,000 words to say, then it comes into a clash with Arukh HaShulchan wrote earlier. But in any event, he says that this could be a totally open area. Just there's a toilet which flushes away, so to speak, to a distance. People who actually have a place where they I think a toilet seat. It's called a keresh, a block of wood. So they have a bench which they made a hole, but if you love, that's where they extend their needs. Mutali cross kriyashmakinekdo. You could read opposite that bench because the excrement is not on the hole. Graf tachas and also the bucket with the excrement is not underneath the hole. And also because they cover the toilet seat with a toilet cover. Yesh Chokim said those are in this tefillah and hold the besafsol zeh yesh l'dim be'eskis kamer. This bench in and of itself is the din of beis hakisei u'mechuyav l'otzio, and you have to take it out or chasoso sviv saviv or wrap it up in order to read Shema or daven in that room. Chem b'bakim sheyesh b'socham kisos ktanim u'tzorach yeladim. Put potty chairs for little kids. Im zasan a surah if they are old enough. That excrement is forbidden. Then these chairs also have the din of a toilet. You got to take them out or cover them in order to say Shema. And this is halacha l'maisa. Mishnah Berurah, rather long Mishnah Berurah here, says that Dvar Chaim says that if the bench is made for sitting and it's covered with a pillow, only when, I think you have this in trains, when you have to defecate, you remove the pillow and then you defecate on the vessel which is there below. You can read and say Shema and daven when it's covered with the pillow. Bialocha writes that the potty for a kid, which is primarily that the kid, I guess it serves two purposes. It's mainly for the kid to stand on it, I guess, and have fun. But sometimes he uses it for his needs. It's not sure what the halacha is, whether it's mutzah, whether it's osir. Yurav, Kosa Ramam Reish Per Gimel. The Ram writes, "Ein korin lo b'beis hamechto b'kisei." Okay, so you can't read Shema neither in the bathhouse nor in the toilet. The toilet. Af al b'yishein sham botzah. Even though it has no excrement, lo b'beis hakvaros, and not in a cemetery. Lo b'tzad hameis atzmo, not next to a dead body. Anybody who reads in a place where he's not supposed to read, he needs to go back and read again. So Rabbi disputes that where it was next to a dead body, Ein Sham. Rabbeinu Beis Yosef Sof Simon right now Pasuk Rambam. Kosa Batam the Konsul Chachamim Ayin Sham. Beis Yosef says that you do have to read it again over again, because not because Mikra did you have to, but because Chachamim penalized you for having actually read the Shema there. He brings that in from the Bir Halacha, from the Akiva Eger, and in terms of urine, since only the Rabbanan, but you don't go back. But he says the Sefer Shulchan Shlomo and the Graz, I'll tell you, seems to say even b'diavad you go back. Okay, Pei Dalet. In Mutar Lekos Merchotz, you're allowed to read Shema in a bathhouse. Isa B'Shah Aleph. In Isa B'Shah says in Second Shabbos, Nichlas Beis HaMerchotz, somebody goes into a bathhouse. Mokum Shleyotim Einam Omdin Levushim, a place where people are not standing clothed. Yesham Mikro Tefillah, you can read Shema and say Tefillah there, and so much as Shalom, and you can of course say Shalom Aleichem. Umeniach Tefillah, you can put on Tefillah in that place. Tzarich Etzchel Mashen Choletz. People are standing around clothes, so you put on Tefillah, because that's saying don't take it off. Only a place where some people are dressed, some people are not, like a locker room. Yesham Sheil Shalom, you can say Shalom Aleichem, and Sham Mikro Tefillah, can't say Shema or David. Then it's tefillin. You don't have to take your tefillin, but you can't put them on in that space. A place where people stand naked. Ain't sham sheila shalom. There you do not do a sheila shalom. You can't do shalom. Mikra u tefillah goes without saying that there is no shema and tefillah. The choletz tefillah. When you go in there, you have to take off your tefillin. Ain't tzurchim Hashem micham. Goes without saying you don't put it back on. Ain't sham. The shlosha batim hayelam bemerchatz. HaShulchan says there are 3 chambers in the bathhouse. Hapnei Yisrael, to tell them the inner one, most one, where they would wash. It's the middle one, Shalov Shuposh, where they put on their clothes and take them off. Achitzon, the outer one, Shalach Shalov Shu, after they put their clothes back on, Yoshev Shama L'Nochmat, it's like a lounge. They spend a few minutes after they bathe. There in the middle one, Mitzas Lodino Kamerchatz, to a certain extent it's like a bath. Mitzas Lo Kamerchatz, to a certain extent not like a bath. The other one, the Gambi Lokamerchatz, is completely not like a bath. It's called part of the Beis HaMerchotz. But Pnimis, the inner one, Tinaka Beis HaKisei. It's like a Beis HaKisei because people walk around naked. Ushelo Shom, the Shom we're talking about here is Have B'Shem. It's the Shem Hashem as Boaz was Masakin Hashem Melchem Yivarechecha Hashem, which was the Shem Hashem. But here it says, Yesh Makim L'Kro Ish Shom. Nevertheless, Yesh Mekridim, the crow Ish Shmo Shalom, the cross the Sub Shmar Merchotz. People don't say Shalom, even a person's name is Shalom, because it's saying Shalom, which is one name, Mishum Da Shalom, have a Shmo Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu, because Shalom is one of the names which we give a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Kermin on Shalom, Abba B'lo Shalom lies, but to say it in a foreign language, Kigon Salam, okay, Kayotze Bo Tzera Mutar. Some say it's I don't know. Okay, I don't think it means the Arabic. It's not quite the best here. Anyway, whatever it is, salam is okay. Some say it's altogether mutar came to Enamakir, Chavit El Rak, Lishmo Shalish. His whole intent is just to say somebody's name. Upasha was the guy both some to us osli thing. Shalom, you can't say Shalom Aleichem also in a place where it is a disgusting place. Mishmur says, but it says the Rabbani can be Mako, and therefore you can say Shalom if the guy's name is Shalom. Because many Achronim answer it. And what you do is you can swallow the mem, and you just say Shalom or Shalom with the nun at the end. Now, I heard years ago, and it could be that it's made up, but people refrain from saying even Shabbos in the base in the mikveh, because it's also not the name of Kosh Baruch Hu associated with Kosh Baruch Hu closely or associated to mitzvah, so people will not say Good Shabbos in the mikveh. I don't see that here. Unless we'll come across it, I will be surprised. Okay. Base. Merchatz Chadash, a new bathhouse, Shadain Lo Rachzu Bo, which we have not yet watched. Mutis Baba Socha. You're allowed to daven inside. Zakila Beis Akise. This respect is more lenient than a toilet. Yishun the Merchatz Lo Misko Kaka Beis Akise, because a bathhouse is not as disgusting as a toilet. Ava Merchatz Yosham, but an old bathhouse, Abishata, Ain Bo Adam, even though people are not there at all, also is forbidden. Yeshu Rishon, some say do idea, Mikvol Shanashim Tovlos Bo. The mikvos where women go to the table, asuras to they may not make a bracha inside that mikvah. But ain't no cane. They can, and they do. Requires bars that you're there. Siman Reish Ayin Sham. As explained, you're there. It's the natural placement. Mishabura writes in the name of the Taz that our mikvah in general is like the middle room of the bathhouse. And therefore, you shouldn't make any bracha there, except for the bracha on tefillah, which you have to make. Prima Garden writes that if you're in the base of tefillah, it's better. The woman's base of tefillah, it's better to make the bracha while she's in the water, because the place where the water is, I guess, because it covers you, not completely, but partially, it doesn't have the status of the middle room of the bathhouse. A mikveh, where where you spill hot water, he's not sure if it's in a merchatz, because on the one hand it's got that smoke, that steam, which would make it somewhat disgusting. But nevertheless, it doesn't have the same type of pollution and stench like a regular Beis HaMerchatz has. So basically, a mikveh is better than a Beis HaMerchatz because of the lack of stench and the lack of steamy stench. Okay, back to the Arukh HaShulchan. Because the Rachum Mutal Marve Merchatz. He says you're allowed to say Rachum, even though it's one of the descriptions of Kosh Baruch Hu. Rabbi Chelik was there, the Rabbi disagrees. But the Rambam, the primary level is like the Rambam came with Shigama Adam, Chelik Mar Torah Zek. It could also be a person that he's a Rachum. Mashenkin Shalom as opposed to Shalom, it's more specific, and therefore you shouldn't say Shalom. You want to tell Shtos by Merchatz, you want to drink in the bathhouse. You brought it by Zachitzon, you should make a bracha in the outer room, in the lounge. I'm not so sure it's been having in mind they're going to drink when you get inside. It's also true if you toivel kalim in a place which is our mikvos. Best to make the bracha outside and then go inside and toivel the kalim if that's permitted by the people who run the mikveh. Okay, Mishnah Berurah says somebody who wants to drink. The Mishnah Prima Garden says to make the bracha in the outer room or in the room of the bathhouse attendant when there aren't naked people there. Or you can go into the actual bar, into the mikveh, up to the water gets above your genitals, and then make the bracha. Also, you should cover your head, and you should make the bracha and drink a little bit outside in the outer room, with the assumption you're going to go then amanas, the condition that you're going to go back and drink in the bathhouse. And this is all true only if the rooms are all one big building, even a small building, but one building. So they're all considered within the same confines for the bracha. It's no issue of shini makom. But to make the bracha outside the bathhouse altogether, that has the status of shini makom, that would be usher. That's, of course, only if you didn't drink while you're outside, but you wanted to run inside drink. If you drank outside and you were mestiach das, we'll see much later on, then there's a tzad to say you can go into the bathhouse and continue drinking. Certainly if you're holding, according to Moshe Feinstein, if you're holding a cup in your hand, then for sure that you're going to continue drinking from the outside to the inside. Moshe holds the cup, it focuses, and therefore there's no shaila of the bracha changing places with you. Gimel. Im Sholadam is a din by Merchat. Somebody asked you a halacha in the bathhouse. Also, you can't answer it. Can't even tell. I can't answer you in the bathhouse. Mishnah Berurah on this says you can say what you can say is that there's a bathhouse, and that gives obviously the hint, but it doesn't actually mention the halacha. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. Rak Baisim Tzoi, in the middle Mutar Lamar Lokain, you can say to him as follows: the Emushivim by Merchatz. Still not allowed to answer the halacha question. You can say at that point, I can't answer you here. Mishnah Berurah says on this, somebody will be machmir in the middle room. So he says the only time Mishnah Berurah has matir to say I can't answer you is if it's a darkei shalom issue. Okay, he's much more machmir. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. When you get to the outer room, the lounge, so that you can pass it. But he will see he's going to do something which is forbidden. Then mutagam merchatz, that's permitted even within the bath, itself. Could go such as shura mishi says stuff or he says about doing something forbidden. So you must tell him that's forbidden to do. Mishnah Berurah says you don't have to be in that case. You don't have to be meticulous in how you phrase it. Even if you say it as language of halacha, it's okay. Something machmir, not to say it in a language which implies haras halacha. You're paskening. But if you can't, if saying it briefly, it's not going to convey your message. You can be more verbose about the separating from the isser. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan. Ve'ein chiluk ben she'omer b'lashon chol or b'lashon hakodesh. Doesn't make difference if you say it in foreign language, in English, such as or in Hebrew, because they're both paskening. V'asar b'divrei Torah. You kind of think close to Torah by merchatz. In achim mishnasa shkura b'pi, but if you're the rocket chopper and you're constantly thinking about Torah and it's about korach machashiba, ain't kind of it's not. There is no prohibition. And also in the toilet the same parameters, which is a pretty big leniency. Mishnah Berurah says that if you like the rocket chopper, he doesn't use that term. I'm just saying as an example. Since you're honest, since you're rebelled, and you're thinking, you can even express it with your lips. But the Chidah says, no, you can't say it no matter what. And that which he says, if he thinks, because he just can't stop himself, it's mutter, that means that if you think, you don't make it, it's not isser, because you were compelled to think. But if you can, if you're not the rugged chopper, and you can push away the thoughts of Torah, you should do so. And certainly, regardless, you should not say anything. Boy, this is long today. I just want to check if we actually have to do all of this today. I think it's probably no, I think it's actually a typo. No, it's not. It is not a typo. We have to do all the way to Pei Vav Aleph. Okay. Pei Hey, Mivosam Tzunafos also likros. In the discussing alleys, you cannot reach Ma. Beis evening. Oh, down. Okay, it was low here, but they're long sleeping. Tanya, if you're going in disgusting alleyways, do not reach Ma. Not only that, if you're in the middle of saying Shema, Pasek, stop. If you didn't stop, certainly the Pasek says, Ki Dvar Hashem Bozah. You denigrated the word of God. If you interrupt, what's the reward? Oh, in this manner you will extend your days. When you leave, you finish that disgusting alley, you finish Shema. But you shock that when it's cool, even if you tarry there long enough, finish the entire thing. And let's go back to the place where you interrupted, not to the beginning. So Shitas Harif. Rambam, Rak Mikfield, only in field you have to go back to the beginning, and not in Kriya Shema, which because we see it as Samachet. When I've been around Makos, Yesh Mishachas the Rosh, they'll say you go back to the beginning, because that's the place is Rosh and he's Bar Sham, like the other Rishonim. Base. I feel Arab awesome. You're not only allowed to think words of Torah in disgusting places, of merchats and bathhouse, in the toilet. What's some places called disgusting? Places places excrement or urine. I feel merchats also merchats. He can't even think of the laws of the bathhouse in the bathhouse. Nor the laws of a toilet in a toilet. Therefore, you should do your bookkeeping in the bathroom or the bathhouse. So you shouldn't come to think thoughts of Torah. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Nowadays, we don't have these problems, unfortunately. The Mishnah Berurah writes, when you think about on Shabbos, we're not supposed to think about your bookkeeping. You should think about buildings and beautiful artwork. Interesting, right? See, and he says that a person can also think in a bathroom how degraded a human being is, and eventually he's going to go back to be dust and worms and maggots, and that he shouldn't be arrogant or prideful. He also said that it's you're not allowed to learn dikduk in the bathroom. Okay. Oh well. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan. With Barim Shalcho, mundane stuff, you can say it in a bathroom, if not even in Hebrew. That's Chassidus, it's a midas Chassidus not to speak in Hebrew there. Impossible. The descriptions which very often merciful, trustworthy, you're allowed to say in the bathhouse. I was shameless but names which we cannot erase, because Baruch Hu cannot say them or think them. Also to give Shalom Aleichem, also Shalom. My Isbar already explained that for Shemi Surah to separate something doing prohibition, Mutzah, Missile, a few, Kodesh, even in Hebrew. You want a Kodesh, and even it's a matter which requires mentioning something holy. Here or Herva. A person, it's amazing to think that they had that problem back then, but evidently human beings. If a person gets the lascivious desire when he's in the bathroom or the bathhouse, that point you're allowed to think where's the Torah. It's like separate yourself from the prohibition. The negative erva when you're opposite genitals, you are allowed to think words of Torah. Because you're allowed to think words of Torah, mutar leave soaked in, but also paskan halacha. As long as you don't say the reasoning. If you're not saying in a way which is a psak, you'd rather say, do for me X, Y, Z, said that's okay, even if one can infer halacha from that. Mishu Aram, somebody is naked, is now has to listen to somebody else's bracha. Maybe here's the you can't answer Amen. Maybe or this, even Aleph, Steve Cotton base. Okay, she says, Simam Steve Yud, Steve Cotton base. I'm not sure how it works. Okay, whatever. Pavov. You have to guess this is for anything which has a bad smell. This is yourself from excrement and from urine. This is yourself from disgusting water. And from water which used to soak. Which they soak flax or canvas. Also where the laundry is soaked. Where they wash young kids' clothing, which has excrement. Mehakos, also from vomit. Not sure it's talking about vomit or a vomitorium, which Romans used to have in the old days. But it's unclear. So Kavachomer. If you have a market from a vomitorium, you have a market from a vomit. Only Chosva, it's talking about vomit itself. Or foul-smelling moistures. A place where there is sewage. The Kleo made mizman rab, and a vessel sitting there for a long time. The sewage is not the right term. Like water in which you wash dishes, which you threw into that vessel. So I can say you have this stuff from that. Also repugnant mikvos. Also lishabarach b'am, a woman can make a bracha in the mikvah. Person puts something repugnant next to a shul, the chuyav l'salkim shem, to remove it. But if you even a disgusting thing came before the shul, you got to remove it. Tavim milsa, these swords also to have that there at a time when people are davening.